Hey there, everybody. South by Southwest, third day, and I'm getting ready to interview Lisa Mosconi, the Menopause Brain. I had been talking about this because I'm so excited about the fact we're going to talk to her about her new book that is coming out. Woo! This week, and I'm gonna have the link up in the bio so you can check that out because this book is brilliant. And if you have ever dealt with brain fog, if you have ever dealt with, I don't know, trying to remember words, names, where your keys are, whatever it is. All right, let me look and see where Lisa is, and we'll have her join us as soon as I see her pop up here. Let me just do a quick request. But anyway, so meantime, I'm here at South by Southwest waiting to go in there and talk. And so we're like in this back room. I'm at the She Media Lab. Hi, Texas. How are you? Let's see. Sorry, guys. I got to see what I got going on here. Okay. So I'll be on the stage in a little while talking about menopause, but I thought what better way to start things off than with Lisa. And by the way, if you haven't seen Lisa's talks or have not looked at the female brain that she talks about, where you are when you go before menopause, then go into menopause, and then postmenopausal. So you will completely understand everything you're dealing with when it comes to your brain, and you won't question like, am I going crazy, or is there something wrong with me? Why can't I remember the person's name that I've known my whole life? There's so many good things that are answered, and it's not just about the brain, but she also talks about lifestyle changes you can take, estrogen playing a role. So let me jump in here and make sure I see her. Let's see where we are. Lisa, I'll do a quick request. And if you guys have questions for her, by the way, let me know, and I will put those questions to her as soon as we grab her. Let's see where she is. Questions, put them in the little corner where you see that question mark, and I'll keep trying to check that out. Hello from the DR. Hi, guys. It's good to see everybody today. Anyway, this is... Oh, hi.
Good morning.
I was getting ready to do another intro of your book. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I saw the invitation. I was like, sure.
I know. I never know until like right at the last moment. Is it working? Is it working? So I'm so excited to see you here.
It's so good to see you.
Congratulations.
With your beautiful color. I need it so badly. I mean, seriously, daylight saving time.
Yes, I know. I know. Well, I mean, I was like the last few days I went, what is my sleep doing off? I feel like I don't know what's going on. And I realized it's daylight savings time. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations on the book, The Menopause Brain. I was so excited when this came. I'm like, this is great. Guys, pre-order this book, or we'll order this now because this is your pub week, but I have a link up in my bio, and we'll put a link on the video too so people know exactly where to find you. But how are you feeling, and what reaction are you getting? This has to feel great finally to have the book out.
Oh, yes. Yes, finally. I'm really, really happy that it's out. And I think the reaction has been wonderful. We're getting so many requests, for me to talk more, and so much good press. I am doing a live with the Washington Post in a few hours, and People magazine just wrote about the book, and yeah,
good. I'm so happy.
Great.
I told people to ask some questions in case I had questions, but I know the big one obviously is brain fog. That is what we talk about, and you don't really understand what it is until I don't think you understand what it is until you deal with it. Brain fog is like, oh, I'm a little cloudy, but it is something serious. And one of the first things I really recognized in my perimenopause menopausal transition.
Yes. So many women come to us at the Alzheimer's Prevention Clinic, in the Alzheimer's Prevention Program, because they are experiencing a severe change in cognitive performance that they can't quite pinpoint. And for many women, it's just so severe to really spark concerns around early onset dementia. I can't tell you how many women really come to us, young women in their 40s and early 50s or 60s, but the younger women is even more shocking because they come to us saying, I am terrified. I am losing my mind.
Right.
My mother had dementia, my father had dementia. Dementia runs in my family, which is basically everyone. There are very few people who have never been touched by dementia or Alzheimer's disease
Sure.
personally, and therefore they worry even more. It's like, is it my turn?
Right.
It might develop
Right.
dementia. And for those who don't know me, I run the Alzheimer's prevention program at Weill
Yes.
Medicine in New York City, and I have dedicated most of my career to the early detection of Alzheimer's disease and the prevention of Alzheimer's disease. So that's why people come to us.
Mm-hmm.
We do brain imaging, we do cognitive testing, we do all sorts of preventative evaluations, and of course, counseling for Alzheimer's
Sure.
prevention. And brain fog is so pervasive during menopause.
Right.
To the point that almost 2/3 of all women going through menopause, especially during perimenopause, report brain fog, this cloudiness in their heads, the fact that their brain won't turn on. In clinical terms, we call it mental fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
which I think really describes this situation you're in where your brain just won't function the way
Yeah.
it used to. And to be fair, the presence of subjective cognitive complaints, which is the actual clinical terminology,
Right.
is being evaluated as a possible risk factor for future dementia. So it's something, I'm not to scare anybody, but just to say it's something that we need to take seriously.
And there's that overlap, and I think that that's the that's the scary part. And you address that so well in the top of the book, talking about the fact that menopause brain is not your imagination, but then the distinct differences that you have to look at, because you're right. We all have, I've probably said it 10 times, like, is there something, is it dementia, is there something more serious going on? Not that this is not serious, but is it more serious? And then how do I know the difference? And I know that that's a question you are tackling in one area and researching in the other.
Yes, yes. Well, brain fog is a bit of an issue for us because it could be a confounder, right? When you study early Alzheimer's disease, the earliest signs of Alzheimer's, you want to make sure that what you're looking at is Alzheimer's, it's not something else. So at first, we were looking at brain fog as something we had to rule out. Is it menopause? Is it Alzheimer's? Is it aging? And that is complicated to do. But I can tell you, we actually have a paper under review now where we are showing for the first time, believe it or not, the brain fog in menopause has a very specific neurophysiological aspect in the brain. Like, you can actually map it onto some functionalities that are brain related that really have to do with brain energy.
Okay.
And do you remember those brain scans that
Well,
we were
that's what I was
looking
going
at
to
the other
ask you.
day?
I do. I have them right here. Are these the ones you're talking about in the book? Yeah, I have them marked. And that's the other thing. If when you grab Dr. Mosconi's book and see this, I thought this was, oh, wonderful. That's so much better. So that is in the book, and you explain this so well. Can you go through that so
Yes.
people understand what each one of those colors mean?
Yes. So this is the first study we've ever done on menopause, and we were trying to
There's
really
no just with you, Dr. Mosconi.
Stop calling me Dr. Mosconi. I'm
Lisa.
I love Tamsen so much, you guys. You have no idea. And so what we were trying to do was to understand how the menopause transition impacts brain health, because whatever had been done, which wasn't much to start with, but whatever had been done was always looking at the brain after menopause, like several years post-menopause. And we were like, well, what happens in between? What leads to those outcomes? And so this is the very first study we've done. It uses a type of brain scan, which I specialize in. It's called positron emission tomography, or PET. And in this case, we use a tracer called fluorodeoxyglucose that looks at the way that the brain is burning sugar or glucose to make energy. And this here is this woman's brain. She was 43 years old when she came to us the first time, and she was premenopausal. She had a regular menstrual cycle. And this is a happy brain.
Yes.
It's a very highly energized brain with there's a lot of red and yellow, which is really what you want to have, which shows high brain energy levels. And what we do is that we repeat the brain scans over time, every 2 years. And this is what we found. This is the same brain. Hold on, I went out of focus.
That's right.
This is the same brain over here.
Oh, the difference. Look at the
after
difference.
menopause. And I think the difference is quite striking. with the window reflection.
That's
I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix
okay.
it up.
That's okay.
There's a lot of red that's turning yellow and
Yep.
quite a bit of yellow that's turning green.
And
And
that,
that is a
yeah, what
change.
is that?
That is a reduction in brain activity or brain metabolic energy, which can mean many different things. But in this case, it really meant that this woman was having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
She was totally fine before menopause, and her brain reflected that. But then she was going through menopause. She was very early postmenopausal when we took the second
Mm-hmm.
breast. So we were really looking at the transition in between. And that correlated for her with brain fog and hot flashes and depressed mood.
Sure.
And now, the very first study had maybe 60 women in it because it was so new and so challenging
Sure.
to do for a number of reasons. We have hundreds and hundreds
Oh,
now.
wow.
We almost have
Wow.
400. Yes, it's
Wow.
amazing. And we find exactly the same thing. And what we find is that this change specifically really maps onto whether a woman has brain fog or not.
Okay.
We find it to be a good
Okay.
predictor of brain fog, which really makes sense. It's exactly what women have been saying forever, that they're tired. Their brains are tired. And we see that in
We
terms
feel
of a
it.
change in brain. Yeah. You know, what is really surprising to me, what was most surprising to me when I started doing research on menopause was that we could really provide biological evidence of women's concerns. Like the
Yes.
wording that they're using can actually be objectified in a way by using very specific types of measures in the brain. And that was kind of amazing too, because we never get correlations with that. It's very hard to find a good correlation between brain and behavior.
It's just,
Kind of
it's
hard
so
to.
good. It's just, I never forget those slides because the first time I saw them, I went, it just made so much sense. And I feel like when women see that, when women see this, it's the menopause brain.
Yes.
I love this. I love the cover, the light bulb. When you get this book, you're just gonna cherish it. I also, what I like about this, and we've talked about this before, there are the lifestyle changes that come with all of it,
Yes.
right? So, you
Oh,
know,
sure.
the fact that you're showing women really what's actually happening, and I can't get those slides out of my mind. I always think like, okay, I know what's happening. And then now that I'm postmenopausal, I said, I wonder if it's coming back. I wonder if some of my red and yellow is coming back a little bit. Because I do feel like, some of my brain fog has lifted quite a bit. I
Yes.
always think about your slides, but lifestyle changes are some of the other things that you really do focus on in parts of integrative health. And I know that's really important to you as well,
Yes.
in terms of exercising, moving, how we sleep. I mean, there's all of it that you run down because we can't leave those out.
No, lifestyle is extremely important for brain
Yeah.
health. I think for many, many years, there was this misconception that the brain was somehow unaffected by whatever happened from the neck down. And the past 10 years of research have completely upheld that notion. Even in the field of Alzheimer's disease, which is a very severe manifestation of the brain
Right.
that's not really doing so great, but we find that lifestyle adjustments really provide many, many benefits. Like you said, diet and exercise, like a healthy diet and a regular, consistent exercise routine, are now recognized as cornerstones of Alzheimer's prevention. And so is sleep hygiene and stress reduction and regular medical checkups and avoiding toxins. That's a new one that for many years was kind of controversial.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
turns out we're now almost all on the same page as scientists. No scientist will always be on the same page with everybody else, but there's more consensus that toxins are effectively, I mean, why do we need a consensus? But
But
we have
thank
consensus.
goodness. Thank goodness it's part of the conversation now, because it wasn't part of the conversation for a very long time, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just kind of like that outlier area, like maybe, but now it's inside and part of that conversation, which I'm really happy about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too, because we need to give people some agency, right? You can't all be about doctors fixing you. You have to be able to take care of yourself, especially your brain health, and the rest of your body as well. But we're not used to thinking of brain health as part of our own personal healthcare, right? We have
Right.
so many products to take
Right.
care of the rest of our body, but there are so few things that we are told that there are just a few things that one can do to protect your
Yes.
brain. But in reality, there are so many things that just come together and provide protection for the brain. And that is especially true in menopause, because like
Yeah.
what we're showing with the brain scans and whatnot is that menopause is a neurologically active state. And this is actually interesting. You know, the Lancet paper that
Sure.
just came out, and
Sure.
it
We're
was
talking
such a
about it
big
today.
yeah, I'm sure. So what they're using, the terminology that we use to describe menopause, I think is really important, because there are two schools of thought, I believe. There are some people who say it's a disease, and some people who say it's just healthy aging, or just, aging. And neither word is as wonderful, as perhaps as helpful, right? Scientifically, and as a woman, as women, as the actual definition of menopause, which is a neuroendocrine active state, or a neuroendocrine transition state, which is very unique in biology. And it comes with risks and vulnerabilities, but also comes with resilience and adjustments and adaptation. And I think both are really important to consider, because the idea that the brain can adjust and adapt means that you have power, right, over the outcome for yourself and your brain, and it gives you more authority in some ways, because they're like, well, if I eat right and I exercise consistently, maybe I do specific types of exercise, and maybe if I practice stress reduction, and if I try to sleep more, these are all things that can make you transition smoother and more easy. And we do find that outcomes after menopause differ, in part based on whether or not hormone therapy is involved, but also based on our participants' overall health and lifestyle habits. That the healthier you are, the better your brain remains. Or turns up after menopause. So I think that's an important message.
I think it is too, because Sharon just asked, does it end? And there's another side to that, and that's where we see that post-menopausal brain, and also that happiness curve, right?
Yes. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So this is something that's getting a lot of attention, at least when people read this book, my book, is that
you're going to feel happy at the end of this book.
Yes,
which is good news.
That is the hope. That is the hope. And there's this graph that maybe is helpful to show about mindset, right? So something I've learned by really reading studies on the psychology of menopause, which is not usually my thing,
right?
But psychology, but I find it wonderful. And what the studies show is that life contentment actually increases after menopause, at least with the studies that we have so far. Yes, happiness, contentment, like let's say that it's kind of high before the menopause transition, and then for many women on average it takes a dip, right? It's hard. Going through menopause is no picnic, and we know that. Right? Just to be honest. But then what happens is that the outcomes, again, can be quite different, but usually on average, life contentment and happiness tends to go back up on average 4 to 6 years after the final menstrual period, but then it continues to increase. And I think that this is very interesting that, at least from the studies we have so far, postmenopausal women are on average or generally happier than women who are premenopausal. And actually, that's the most interesting part. They're happier that they themselves were before going through menopause. So there is something
that's
to
amazing.
look forward to. Yeah.
So there's something to look forward to.
Right? Yeah, and the question
through all
is
that.
why? Why are we happier after menopause rather than before? And it could be, I found it, menopause life satisfaction.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it goes down and then keeps going up. And why is that? Maybe because you're done with menopause. But
brain fog is over, hot flashes are over, you can sleep again.
That would be great. But also there are changes that happen in the brain that we find where the emotionally reactive parts of the brain get kind of down-regulated. They get turned down a little bit during the menopause transition. So that after menopause, they're less reactive to negative things that can happen to you, but they're just as reactive to good things that happen to you.
It's
And
also
that,
like we say, like, oh, I can deal with anything at this point. I have no more, like whatever. It doesn't matter. We hear women say that all the time after,
yes.
after like in their 50s. I think what I love about this, Lisa, is, you talk about not only empowering women, but then helping them navigate that change. And I think that that's what we've been missing all along. We've been, sorry, my light keeps going on and off. We're missing that roadmap, right, to how to navigate the change. And this is where, we find it. And I love how you broke up the sections of the book, in the front, so you can go to each one of those if you're looking for the lifestyle, if you're looking for
Mm.
hormonal or non-hormonal. And then there's, the empowerment component of it. I think it's really necessary so we know we're not alone in all this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really was trying to put some positive
Yeah.
to
I
menopause
can feel
because
it.
because when I started looking at books that were written
Yeah.
about menopause or things that were done, were
Yeah.
quite about the negatives, like
Yes.
the cure to menopause and fixing menopause and overcoming menopause and trying to survive menopause. I was like,
Yep.
well,
Right.
it's part of being a
Yep.
woman. It's part of being born with ovaries. We need to reclaim this part of life as
Yes.
something that, for once, doesn't kill you, right? It doesn't.
Yes.
And there are so many things that one can do to feel better
Yeah.
that I really
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that all the options were covered, right? Because
So,
so many women don't want hormones. Many
yeah.
do.
Yep.
Many might actually have benefits
Sure.
from trying. But it's also good to respect individuality, that every woman has different needs and different levels of symptoms. And so
And
I
some
really
can't take
wanted to
hormones. Some
honor
can't
that.
take hormones, so they need those other options that are out there. I
Yeah.
mean, some
And there
simply
are
can't.
options. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
thing. I find that the conversation is now moving towards take hormones
Mm-hmm.
for menopause. And the
Mm-hmm.
women who cannot
Yes.
or don't want to feel
Yes.
excluded, and they
Yeah,
feel
they can't
like
be left out of this.
no,
They
and
can't
there's
be left out of this
no reason
conversation.
for it.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. There are other things that one can do. And so there's a whole list of things in the book, and there's chapters, like at least 3 chapters in the book, or more than that, about all the things that women can do without taking
Yeah.
hormones. And there's no reason to believe, and don't get me wrong, I mean, if you can't take hormones, it's something I would
Sure.
personally explore.
Yes, sure.
But if you cannot, there are other options. And also, scientists are coming to the rescue as well. So
Yes.
we're trying to develop different formulations, different supplements, different nutraceuticals that can be made available to everyone. And we're now doing a clinical trial, as you know,
Yes.
one of these compounds that I think seems extremely promising. So hopefully, the research and the change in culture would also lead to more solutions. And I think
I
that, right?
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything you do. When you're not here, I know you're working tirelessly on
Yeah.
all of this and making sure we have that research. Okay, so I want you guys to know that the Menopause Brain, it's out this week. You got to be so excited. This is the week. Um, Order the
Tomorrow.
book. It's in my bio, so they'll be able to find it there. We have a link to you, and we're going to put this video back up too, so everybody can get it. So if you just tuned into the video and didn't hear the beginning of it, we'll make sure you have the entire video with Lisa. And I think you and I should connect at another time and do another one of these, and we'll do like a list of questions for everybody in advance, maybe, and get you back talking about this, because I know you've got a busy few days in New York area. But I have a lot of people saying that I'm excited. This is a good time of life. I feel bliss going on. So I'm excited about the book. Lisa, I'm so happy for you.
Thank
Congratulations on
you.
your release from Lori.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sharon Malone. All, all of your friends are here.
Oh, thank you so much.
All
That
right.
is so wonderful. And I'm so
Wonderful.
grateful to you for doing it.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, the Menopause Brain, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And I know people are going to get a whole lot out of this book when they read it, go through it, and they're going to feel good at the end of it, which is so important. Oh, Lisa, somebody's asking, is the book available also in Canada?
Yes, it
Yes?
comes
Yes.
out tomorrow in the USA, in Canada, England, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and soon enough in the Netherlands and Germany and China. So yeah,
Okay.
it's coming.
Or
It's coming.
Diane's already pre-ordered. Yolanda's already pre-ordered. Somebody's asking the age I should read it. I have a 40-year-old daughter. Both of
Do
you should
it.
be reading it.
Do
Both of you
it.
should be
My
reading it.
daughter is 8 and she already knows about puberty, pregnancy, menopause. I think the sooner you feel comfortable with the notion that your brain and your body keep changing together throughout your entire life, the better it is, because it really gives you peace of mind. You just understand yourself better before, during, after the transition. And I think that is very calming in a way, but also makes you feel better about you, because you see the plus and the minuses and everything ends up in a balance.
And you know you're coming out on the other side of this the right way.
I think so.
I think so too, because these are life changes. They're not just in this moment changes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right.
Thank
Lisa,
you.
thank you so much.
It was so
All right.
good to see
We'll
you.
talk soon.
Okay.
The Menopause Brain, guys. Congratulations. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all so much. Yes, it is an audible.
Let's keep going. Hold on one second. I see a few more of these keep popping up. Audible, yes. Brazil, somebody just asked. Sorry.
Yes, it's an audible on
Audible,
Amazon.
Audible.
All the links are there. Yes.
Audible, hardback, Audible.
Kindle, everything. We got everything covered in all countries.
Get them all? Audible, yes. Yeah, I'll do a link to both of those so we have them, Lisa, okay?
There. Yes. Thank you.
Of course. All right. I want to make sure we get everybody. All right. Bye.